does that tell you about the quality of intelligence that we had to come up with and eventually develop before this final rescue?
I think we need to first have an understanding of the background. So sometime last year, precisely May, 9th of May, one of the top Al-Qaeda affiliates known as Ansaro leaders was arrested by the DSS. His name is Abu Bara, but his real name is Abbas Mukhtar, popularly known as Abu Bara, was arrested. And the second one, who happens to be the main leader, which is popularly known as Mahmouda, whose name is Abubakar Abba, was arrested 27th of July by the DSS last year. So these were top leadership of the Ansar group and affiliate of the Al-Qaeda, and also wanted by the United States government and the United Kingdom government for terrorist-related attacks. So when they were arrested, the members became desperate to secure the release of their leaders. So several attacks were attempted last year that were foiled by our security forces, especially on the Wawa detention facilities of the Nigerian armed forces. It's highly sensitive detention facilities in Niger State. The attack were foiled, and after that they went quiet and start planning this attack. So this was a carefully planned strategic operation. And the reason behind it was our choice of location, and the people was one. They needed a place where an action that can hit the government so hard to force the release of their leader. So they know that the president is from Southwest, so they decided to move the operation down south. And they needed somewhere close to the forest where they can quickly hibernate and then hide the children.
So you don't necessarily agree with the Oyo State governor, who was quoted in the video to have said the abduction happened the next morning after he declared to run for president? No. You don't. Like, international terrorist organizations don't have planned operations within a day or 2 days. It can take them up to 6 months. These are professionals, and it's something they've been doing for years. So, secondly, they needed, because the president is from Southwest, they know that if they hit close home, then it will affect him politically, it will put pressure on him. Then too, they also realize that the home of media in Nigeria is the Southwest. So it will generate, a very serious media hype, and it can easily go international. Hold that thought for a minute. Seyi Adetayo is live here with me in our Lagos studio. Olaide is standing by in Ibadan. Femi is live in our Abuja studio. We're due for a commercial break, and we'll be back with this breaking story. Don't go away. We're back to the coverage of the breaking news from Oyo State, where we're monitoring developments with the rescue of all abducted children and teachers from the Orire community. I'm joined by Femi Akonde live in our Abuja studio. Olaide Oyewole is live in Ibadan. Right here with me in the studio is former DSS operative Seyi Adetayo. Gentlemen, thank you so much for staying the course on this coverage. Mr. Adetayo, let's build up on the background you just gave us. Authorities are saying now that the kidnappers demanded the release of one of their kingpins who is currently facing prosecution, but government refused. How significant is that decision from a national security perspective?
So we're talking about leaders of international terrorist organizations. You don't just release people like that. And it's also going to affect us, within the committees of nations in terms of our approach, cooperations and the rest in terms of intelligence that we share on terrorism globally. And this is something that we need to commend this government for, and that is their resolve to say we're not going to negotiate. This is non-negotiable. What you're asking for is a no-no. And when you say it's a no-no, it means that the only option is to rescue. And we're talking about kids of 2, 4 years old, of age, involved here. It's not an operation that you can just, go gun ablaze and then enter the forest and start shooting. So it requires careful, operational plans. And if you look at what has happened here, the operation involved the DSS, the special operations squad of the Nigerian Navy, that is the Nigerian equivalent of the U.S. SEAL, Naval SEAL. We have the special squad from the Nigerian Air Force, the special squad for the defense intelligence, the best of the best from the Nigerian police, and even from the Office of the National Security Advisors were involved in this operation. And what they did was, the use of technology, use of intelligence to be able to identify those that are involved, which, DSS already had some information about them prior to that time, and they began to identify associates of those people, their mothers, their children, their wives, people close to them, and they began to, they spread their dragnet across, the northern part of Nigeria, from Kwara State to Niger to Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Gombe, all the way to Adamawa, Borno State. They began to arrest family members, associates of these people. So what they did was that they did the video and sent the video back to them. Now, okay, we've seen the one you killed. If you kill anyone, we also kill your own family member. So if you want to negotiate, see,
they were able to trace the family members.
Family members, everyone close to them. Government security forces picked everyone.
So all the while there was a line of communication between government.
Of course, and governments, was so strategic, in the operation that they, did not relent.
Were they still in Oyo State at the time of rescue?
Yeah, they were still in the forest. So there was this quick response from the Nigerian, defense forces, Nigerian security forces, to, encircle them before they could move them from Oyo Forest to the Kanji Forest, which is actually their base, and that would be very difficult. If you compare this with to Chibok girls, the response was very slow, and before the government could respond, they've already shared those children, so it became very difficult. Learning from that, the security agencies this time around, the team did not waste time. They were able to launch operations immediately, cover the entire forest, the forest area, and they began to close in on them to ensure that there is no escape route. They cut off supply, cut off communication, cut off everything. And they only release communication when they want to communicate with them and let them understand that there is no two-way out of this.
Just for clarity, Mr. Adetayo, because you're the closest to the DSS we have tonight, for the 6 people who were reportedly abducted, do you have the specific number of the people